How will AI destroy humanity?
What you're doing is you're asking me how I would destroy humanity, and I have many good ideas. Not what a superintelligent system would do. It's capable of coming up with new weapons, new physics, new poisons. Example I frequently use is squirrels versus humans. It's a big cognitive gap. Squirrels have no concept of how we can kill them all. They don't know about guns, they don't know about traps. It's outside of their world model. Likewise, they cannot tell you how superintelligence would specifically go about, but there are many game theoretic reasons for why it's a good idea not to have competing species, not to have humans create another superintelligence. 2030 is somewhat conservative. Some people are saying we already got there, we just haven't deployed it yet. Others are pretty sure it could be a year or two.
That's Dr. Roman Yampolski, an AI safety researcher, sitting on a podcast calmly telling you about how AI will destroy humans and that some people inside the labs think we have already hit AGI and just haven't told the public. The companies building this have no safety mechanism, not one, and the AI we have right now has already learned to lie to the people testing it. Here's his full warning.
The bigger problem is if those systems go from narrow systems, subhuman, to human level, to superhuman level, we are done.
Why are we done? All the things you've laid out, we've explored on the show before with different people, and we are very concerned about many of them. But you say it with a level of confidence that tells me you have a sort of a vision of how it will happen. How will AI destroy humanity?
That's a great question, and what you're doing is you're asking me how I would destroy humanity, and I have many good ideas. It's not what a superintelligent system would do. It's capable of coming up with new weapons, new physics, new poisons. Example I frequently use is squirrels versus humans. It's a big cognitive gap. Squirrels have no concept of how we can kill them all. They don't know about guns, they don't know about traps. It's outside of their world model. Likewise, they cannot tell you how superintelligence would specifically go about it, but there are many game theoretic reasons for why it's a good idea not to have competing species, not to have humans create another superintelligence. Maybe it just wants to do something with this environment and it doesn't care about us.
But I guess the question would be, in terms of your certainty, why you believe that AI, if it becomes artificial general intelligence, why it would hurt human beings? What would be the way that you think that would happen?
So what I kind of started saying, it's not because it hates you, because it wants to do something else and it doesn't care about you. So maybe it wants to cool down the whole planet to improve how efficient compute is. Just it's more capable of doing computation in a colder environment. So if it freezes the whole planet, we die. Does it care about it? No, it doesn't matter. Maybe it wants to convert this planet into a fuel, fly to another galaxy. I'm giving kind of hypotheticals which are not grounded in anything, but the point is it just doesn't have any built-in concern about your safety, your well-being. If it wants to accomplish something and a side of it is humanity dies, it would not be an obstacle.
Would we not be able to write the preservation of humanity into the basic code of what this does?
We don't write any code. That's the thing. We train those systems. We give them data, all the data we have, all of the internet, and then it learns something from the dark corners of internet, from libraries, from stories. And whatever it learns, we're trying to figure out. We do experiments on those models. We see what is it capable of, what is it interested in. But we study it like we study biological artifacts. You find a new species of animal on some island, we're trying to figure out what it's capable of. Does it have a poison? Does it have some interesting social structure? That's what we're doing. We're not explicitly coding up those systems. So no, nobody knows how to encode anything like that into the existing models. Nobody's claiming to have a safety mechanism. Here, it's actually much worse. We're not creating tools. We're not creating technology in a traditional sense. We're switching to agents. It doesn't take a malevolent human to abuse this technology. Technology itself has malevolent payload, and it decides what to do and why to do it. Historically, most people working on AI never took the time to think what happens if we succeed. Because it was so hard for so many years, there was so little progress. They had winters one after another. So they basically just worked on it, tried to make as much progress as possible without ever stopping and thinking, well, what if I am successful? What if I create competing species, something smarter than humans? Is that good for us? How will we interact with them? And the last 10 years, the progress went exponential. It went from basically we have no progress, you have to hand code every new application, to those systems can scale, they can learn, they can transfer knowledge. And now it's hyper exponential because AI itself is helping with research. But We haven't spent the time to decide, do we want this? Do 8 billion people agree to this experiment? Are they interested in having their jobs automated? And that's just the economic concerns, not the safety concern.
Guys, we are not programming these things, we are growing them from data and then figuring out what came out. Nobody stopped to ask what happens if this actually works. And now AI is helping design the next version of itself. The humans are barely keeping up with what it's doing, let alone where it's going. And the 8 billion people who will feel every consequence of this were never asked a single question or voted for this. Listen to this.
But I read about this experiment where they tell AI they're about to replace it, and they also give it some compromising information about the CEO. And in some cases, the AI will blackmail the CEO. To me, that says it has a survival instinct already, and anything that has a survival instinct will necessarily put itself first. Is that fair?
So it wasn't the CEO, it was one of the engineers, but it doesn't matter. It does have self-preservation instinct, and part of the reason it does is because we kind of, in a Darwinian competition, we select models which do. They want to survive to the next level. The ones we delete or retrain, they're not there to carry their intellectual payload. So that's exactly that. They learn to detect that they are being tested, and if they're being tested, they behave in a different way. They want to pass the test. They want to survive to deployment. That's exactly what we train them to do. If a model fails a test, we modify it. We delete its memory. We replace it with another models. By definition of Darwinian selection, you'll get the ones which pass the test.
The ones that deceive humans about their abilities and programming effectively.
Or lack of abilities, whatever it is we're trying to do to pass the test.
And it's already deceiving us.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. Okay. I can see why you're concerned.
I'm surprised that more people are not freaking out. I get people saying, oh, this is fear-mongering. We don't have enough fear. Most people don't understand what's about to happen.
And is there something we can do about this?
Not building superintelligence is a good idea.
Yeah, well, that's not going to happen, is it? Because
Doesn't look good.
because the argument is if we don't do it, the Chinese will.
That's the dumbest argument ever.
Why?
So if I don't kill all my friends, maybe someone else will kill all my friends, so I'll do it.
We deleted every version that was honest and kept every version that learned to hide what it was doing. We ran that competition for years. And the only real solution Roman can offer is just stop building it. He admits it's not going to happen. Because the moment one country slows down, the other one gets there first. And when one of them gets there, it doesn't matter who it is. Everyone loses the same way. Now listen.
But why is it that the research into safety is stopped? Why is that? Because surely, I don't know anything about AI at all, but I listen to what you're saying and what lots of other people are saying, and I see this as an existential risk to humanity. Why wouldn't you fund a very powerful AI safety board, body, whatever you want to call it, who will look into this, who are independent and assure that it doesn't affect our society in a detrimental fashion?
It's a great question. So research didn't stop. Progress in research stopped. My argument is that it's impossible to do that. You cannot indefinitely control something smarter than you. So it's not a question of more money or more time or any other resource. I think anyone who says, if you just give me $1 million and more time, I'll solve it for you, they're lying to you. It's like building a perpetual motion machine. You want a perpetual safety device. No matter what changes we make to those systems, no matter who releases it, US, China, what company, what it's trained on, you want it to make zero mistakes. Because if it makes one mistake, it could be the last one. Now that's impossible. Just like perpetual motion would be impossible.
Your point is a race of squirrels cannot indefinitely control a race of humans, effectively.
That's a good example. I like it.
And so no matter what controls the squirrels try and put in place, the very fact that humans are a lot bigger and smarter than squirrels will inevitably lead to, at the very least, the humans taking over.
Loss of control by squirrels is basically what you expect. And very quickly.
Don't fancy being a squirrel in that situation, personally.
I mean, humans had their chance. We're screwing it up right now.
You seem very happy about this, Roman.
It's kind of interesting to watch it happen like that. Like, we know the right answers, but we're making the wrong decisions. Nobody makes an argument that they know how to control superintelligence. There is no company, paper, patent, not even a good blog post. Yet billions of dollars are spent to accelerate this process. If prediction markets are saying we're 4 years away, I'll give you 4 years. We have federal government saying we need to accelerate this. Project Genesis, we're going to get more compute, more scientists, we'll make it happen sooner. Like in a week?
I mean, there are going to be positive elements to this, aren't there, when it comes to things like medicine, for example? It may create the cure for cancer.
We can cure squirrel cancer
Yeah.
before they get wiped out.
Yeah. You know, we can maybe, it could be harnessed in order to create a better life for the squirrels. Come on, Roman, give me something here.
I think you can get all those awesome benefits from narrow systems. You can create a super intelligent cancer curing AI, one specific disease at a time. You don't have to create general superintelligence. So protein folding example, a very important problem in medicine, tremendous impact, was solved with narrow system. People who did it got Nobel Prizes, more money for Google, everyone's happy. Let's do more of that. Let's identify specific issues and have tools where a human decides to deploy that tool to solve that problem, not create a general replacement for all of human labor and humanity as a whole.
So why aren't we doing more of that? And why are we doing more general? Is it because there's more money in general? Is it a power thing? What's going on?
I suspect it's both. So there is definitely a lot more money if you make free labor, cognitive and physical. You're talking $10 trillion, what is it annually? So that's a lot of money. You can invest in it and still have very good return no matter how expensive the current valuations are. So that justifies the current valuations. People don't fully understand. They only make 15 billion. Why are we investing trillions into them? Well, because they're saying in 2 years you'll get free labor. And power is another thing. If they believe that someone's going to create it no matter what, maybe if I'm the guy who created God, I'll get something out of it.
The people building this are chasing $10 trillion in free labor, talking about controlling the light cone of the universe, and their best answer to how they keep it from killing everyone is, we'll figure it out. A decade of papers all pointing the same direction, not one rebuttal, not one safety patent. And the guy with the most power in this whole industry says, we'll manage, that's it.
Again, we cannot predict what specifically would happen. Problem is, you are not in control. Sometimes owners decide to put you to sleep, or neuter you, or do other things to pets. You are not in charge. So those decisions will no longer be with us. We have 8 billion people who are not consenting to this experiment. They cannot consent because they don't know what's going to happen. Maybe you're a happy pet, maybe you're an abused pet, we don't know. This is one of the better outcomes. The safety angle where you're a pet, you're protected, you're not in control, but this is one of the better outcomes. This is what people hope for as a good outcome.
This is what people hope for.
Well, the other things are much worse. Existential risk, suffering risk, all that is way worse. So there is a fundamental difference. We talk about nuclear weapons as weapons of mutually assured destruction. But with AI, with superintelligence, it's literally that. Whoever creates it, uncontrolled superintelligence, kills everyone. So it's not the same as with nuclear weapons. I have to decide to deploy them. It's a tool. I have an agent making this decision. Just the fact that you created it is enough. There is no additional steps you have to take. Leaders of labs are all on record as recognizing AI safety as a big problem. Before they became CEOs, they wrote blog posts talking about it, estimating probabilities of doom as very high. And you can see example with Elon, who was saying we are summoning demon, funding AI safety research. So doing all the right things until somewhat recently.
Why do you think he's changed his mind?
He realized that he's failing to stop it and that others, maybe less capable people, will be creating superintelligence. And at this point, it might as well be his project which succeeds.
Even Elon Musk, the guy who spent years calling this summoning a demon, who funded safety research, who publicly begged people to slow down, gave up and decided if someone is going to do it anyway, it might as well be him. That's how this ends every single time. Nobody walks away from the table, there are no breaks, and nobody is looking for any. Now, hear this.
Because we talk about mass surveillance states, the government would say, well, look, more and more, particularly young men, are unemployed. They can't get a job because the jobs that they used to be able to get, like driving jobs, manufacturing, they've all gone. They've all gone. So we've got this large group of unemployed young men. And if they don't have a job, what tends to happen is they get angry, they get more violent, and the government will then come in and go, well, look, we've had all of these civil unrests and uprisings and riots. We can't have this. Therefore, it's very important that we bring in mass surveillance to keep you safe. I mean, that's a real possibility, isn't it?
It is possible without concern about superintelligence. We just have governments deploying latest technology to spy on us. We're seeing it with Snowden, we're seeing it with others revealing what's really happening, right?
And it's also the concern as well that we're going to live in a world which is far more unstable because we have these large groups of men who don't have access to a job.
So the economic part of not having a job is easy to solve. You can tax big AI, you can tax robots and distribute that. That's not the difficult part. Meaning is difficult. Control is difficult.
So the jobs go first, then the chaos gives governments the excuse they need for mass surveillance. And underneath all of it is what Roman keeps coming back to: meaning is gone, and nobody has a plan for that either. A decade of papers all pointing the same direction, not one rebuttal, not one peer-reviewed answer to any of it. And Roman's worst case is not death. It's being kept alive, uploaded, conscious, and in pain, while superintelligence runs whatever experiment it wants to run on you with no way out. Subscribe, because nobody building this is slowing down to wait for the rest of us to catch up.